My name is Judge Nyman. Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Yes,
I
sir.
can hear you. Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
Your
I
Honor.
heard Heather Rooks. James Barton, can I hear you? Now I can
Yes, Your
hear you.
Honor.
I can hear you and you can hear me, Mr. Haldeman
Yes, thank you.
and Mr. Gray.
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay, this is the hearing in the case involving a petition for injunction against harassment filed by Heather Rooks against defendant Josh Gray on August 24th, 2022. The petition was filed. On 6 days later, a hearing was set. The judge wanted to hear from both sides before issuing the injunction. And on September 1st, 2022, he held the hearing and also held that the defendant had notice but did not appear. And so he entered the order without the defendant being there. And the defendant has now petitioned for a hearing. And Judge Malka granted that hearing, but wanted a fresh judge so they're not rehashing whatever happened in the past. We can just get right down to the petition. And so, Mr. Barton, you are the attorney for Mr. Gray? Oh, I can't hear you.
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
Okay. And so we can get started. The a hearing on an petition for an injunction is pretty straightforward. We just go on the basis of the petition itself that is in evidence. It's been accepted and an injunction has been issued on the basis of that. Let me just tell the parties that one of the law requires, or the law provides, that the losing party in a case involving a petition for an injunction or protective order can get their attorney's fees from, or the winning party can get their attorney's fees from the losing party, and that is just part of the stakes of one of these proceedings. And so before I get started, actually, I want to ask if this thing has been somehow resolved itself. Sometimes they do, usually they don't. But if I can just ask the parties if we need to go forward or if the matter has resolved itself.
Your Honor, in the defendant's view, the matter has not resolved itself.
It has not resolved itself. Okay. And I'm going to call you by your first name sometimes, and it's just, that's more of an attribute of my age than any formality or lack of formality, and I hope I don't offend anybody that way, but it's just I'm more familiar with first names, and so I'm going to give, and sometimes I won't use first names. So Ms. Rooks, this is your petition. We start from basically from scratch. You've read the petition, and do you swear that the information in that petition is the truth, all truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And just before I do that, I should have just asked you, do you swear that the testimony you give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. Then this is at this time, the defense can either cross-examine Ms. Rooks, or the defense can wait and put on its own case. Does the defense want to ask questions of Ms. Rooks?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so Mr. Barton, you can ask questions of Ms. Rooks relating to the petition.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ms. Rooks. As you've heard, my name is Jim Barton, and I am the counsel for the defense. In your petition, the first line of the petition says this individual shared photos of myself and a friend on his Twitter page, and that the photos were taken from afar without us knowing. I want to make sure I understand. You found these photos on his Twitter page, is that right?
That's correct.
He didn't email them to you?
No,
He didn't give them to you in person?
no. There
You found them on his
was,
Twitter page?
yes, on his Twitter page, he had
Thank you.
tagged at the Peoria Mom, which is my Twitter account.
Okay, he found them on your page and there was a tag that would alert you that he had put them on his page. Is that correct?
No, they were, this particular photo was never on my page. It was me and my friend walking through a parking lot. Somebody had taken it from a distance and it was on his page, and he had posted the photo and had tagged me, the at Peoria Mom.
And I just want to make sure we talk about what does it mean to be tagged. So when you get a tag, that means that it tells you that someone has said something about you on another page, correct?
That can be, but again, where did that photo then come from of me and my friend walking through the parking lot?
We'll get to that with your co-running mate in a minute, but right now I'm just trying to understand how Twitter works. So the point being that this was not on your page, it was on his page.
That's correct.
Thank you. Now, the other individual, is she candidate for office?
Yes, she is,
And you're a
but she's
candidate for
not
office?
the one
I'm
singing.
sorry, but you have to just let me ask the questions. I'm sorry.
Okay,
So
pick any.
you're a candidate for office, right?
Yes,
And what office are you running for?
I'm running for the Peoria School Board.
And what office is the other individual running for?
She is also running for Peoria School Board.
And the photo, where was the photo? Where were you in the photo?
We were walking through a parking lot at a school in the district.
Okay. So on August 6th, you saw a picture of yourself on his Twitter page.
That's correct.
All right. Let's go now. I apologize. My office is next to a train station. So if you hear a train, I apologize for that. Okay, so let's talk about the incident on August 7th. You say 2 weeks ago, we were given screenshots from a Facebook group. He was in called Peoria Drives Change. So do you have access to the Facebook group Peoria Drives Change?
No access to it.
And he didn't in person hand you these pictures, I take it.
No,
He didn't email them to you?
no.
Okay. So your second incident was you became aware of a picture and a page that you don't have access to, right?
It wasn't just a picture. It was a discussion of employees sharing information about my children at their school, and then discussing of coming to my house when we were having a private parent meeting.
Again, not to you though, about you, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then we have this incident from a year ago in which he made a statement online on Facebook. So again, this statement from a year ago was not directed to you, was it?
The statement was directed to my friend Devin, and he had made the statement of to tell Heather Rooks, I said hi, and that I know you're having a parent meeting at your house and I'll see you around, was the statement.
And it sounded to me from your answer there is that the statement was not made to you, it was made about you.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So to be clear, none of these were made to you, they all three were made about you.
Yes.
Okay. I have a question here about, is it your understanding that if this order is maintained that Mr. Gray will not be able to attend Phoenix Union School Board meetings? Is that the way you understand it, or do you have any understanding of that?
I don't have any understanding of that part. I only am able to hear or see in the injunction that he can't come near me.
Okay. All right. Do you expect that you'll attend Phoenix Union School Board meetings in the future?
It's Peoria School Board, not Phoenix, but yes, there's times where we attend as a group of moms.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And an apology for the Phoenix Peoria. I got my P's confused. That's all the questions I have, Your Honor.
Okay. If I could Do you, Ms. Rooks, do you want to add anything to flesh out the petition? And I want to make it clear, as I think I stated before, that the issue here is what is stated in the petition. So we don't want to go outside of these events. We're not going to go into a history of Western civilization. But I do want to flesh these out, and maybe it would help if I just asked a few questions, because I've got the afternoon, and it'll end up making it briefer. So let me just kind of read and then ask. So as I understand it, from the first August 6, 2022, you found some photos of yourself and your friend on Mr. Gray's Twitter account, and that Twitter account is named Governor Spicy.
So there's two separate photos that were discovered that day. There was one on Governor Spicy account, and that was with Nazi symbols drawn on our faces, of a photo that me and my friend had done ourselves. And that account was interacting with Mr. Gray. And on Mr. Gray's account, there was a separate photo taken of me and Devin walking through a parking lot at a school, and we didn't know that our photo was being taken. And we don't know how he ended up with that photo on his page.
So basically that one is they were, that was a picture of you and your friend Devin, who were and taken by defendant, you assume, and put on his account.
I don't know. I'm just saying that was where we found the photo. So I have no idea who took the photo, because it was from a distance. Didn't know our photo was being taken. And that's kind of was the first incident that just freaked me out.
Okay. So it freaked you out that there was somebody taking pictures of you, and you felt like were being stalked or something.
Yeah.
Because
And
these pictures showed up.
Mhm.
And so let's
Yeah.
go on to August 7th. Mr. Gray, and this is your understanding, has a Facebook group called Peoria Drives Change.
so it was a group of individuals, is what we were told, and employees of my kid's district. And in this group, he was interacting with the employees. Some of the employees were sharing information specifically about my children from their school. And then they were discussing they knew we were having a parent meeting at our house for parents to talk about education. And they were talking about that they had he mentioned that he had Devin's address, but not mine. So they were discussing about coming to our house. And one of the employees shared our address and our phone numbers and mine and my husband's names. So that was another scary situation to see, coming forward with my kids and then our house. And yeah.
Did they explain why they wanted to come to your house in any of these messages?
Not that I could see. There was a recent, a year prior, it's in the report as well, that he talked about, made a post to my friend Devin on a separate Facebook group, and had said that, I know you're having a meeting at the Rooks house. Tell Heather I said hi, and said, I'll see you around. And that timestamp matched the screenshots that we received of when they were discussing the meeting at our house and sharing my address, and discussing coming to the meeting or whatever. So that's why that was a year ago, is because we didn't know what he was doing. And when that post was made in a separate Facebook group of parents and community members, the admins of that group had kicked him out after that comment because it was a little kind of over the line. And I didn't know at the time that they were discussing in this little private group, sharing our address and discussing of coming to our house. So that's the second kind of one that was on the report.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the conversation about the other group, which we don't have in evidence, or the intentions of the other moderators. I don't think we have any of that in evidence, or we have any reason to that. So I'm going to ask that not be part of the consideration.
Thank you. For clarification, I'm pretty open about listening to everything, but when it comes down to technicalities of evidence, thank you, Mr. Barton. And I'll take that, your admonition, into consideration. So then a year ago in September, Mr. Gray had made a statement online in Facebook that he knew that you were having people having a parent meeting at your house and that he would see you around.
Mm-hmm. Yes. That was the comment that he had made.
Objection, Your Honor, that it misstates facts in the record that the "we'll see you around" was directed not to the plaintiff here, but to someone named Devin Nicole Day. So he didn't say "I'll see you around." He said "we'll see you around," but it wasn't directed to the
Okay.
petitioner in this case.
I'm a little confused about, and just pardon me, because I'm just learning this for the first time. Yeah, I mean, I read it this afternoon about an hour ago, and I've been looking at it, and I do want to find out this second sentence under the relating to the August 6, 2022 incident. You say that Mr. Gray was conversing with a Twitter account named Governor Spicy that was sharing photos of you and your friend with Nazi symbols drawn on your face and making online threats towards you. Could you flesh that out and tell me what that's referring to?
So there's some Twitter account, I don't know who's behind it, called Governor Spicy. And he was sharing photo of me and my friend that we had posted on our own page and had drawn
And by
Nazi,
he, you mean Governor Spicy, not
Governor Spicy.
Okay.
Yeah. And had drawn Nazi symbols on our face. And that was submitted in the evidence. And then there was threats that was being made with the picture that he was sharing with the Nazi symbols on our face. And we could see that Josh was conversationing on Twitter with the Governor Spicy account, and then other people. So it just, that was, I had become aware of that, plus the screenshots from the group. And unfortunately I did have to let my kids' school know. And I had to talk to my kids' principal before they started school about the whole situation, and they wanted copies of everything. So that, because we didn't know who this Governor Spicy was that was conversing with Mr. Gray, who was kind of having this history of things coming up that we kept giving evidence to.
Okay, so the concern was that you were being harassed, you feel, by or misrepresentations were being made about you on this Governor Spicy site, and you know that Mr. Gray had conversations with this Governor Spicy, but there's no evidence that Mr. Gray is Governor Spicy or is responsible for that directly for the Nazi symbols or anything like that, but he was related, and you believe that information concerning you might have gotten to Governor Spicy through Mr. Gray.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
mean,
your
I don't
option?
know yeah, it's hard to tell with technology. I don't know who that person is, but I could see that Mr. Gray was sharing what Governor Spicy was posting about us, of the pictures of the Nazi symbols and everything.
Okay, so, okay. Okay, so you've testified, Ms. Rooks, and you've been cross-examined by Mr. Barton. And do you have any more witnesses? Did you want to ask questions of Mr. Gray as part of your your case in chief?
No, I did have witnesses, but they couldn't make it today. They were at the previous one. And honestly, I don't feel safe or comfortable asking questions of Mr. Gray.
Okay, so is that all the evidence that you have today?
Yeah.
Okay, so it is now Mr. Gray's time to put on his evidence. If you wish to proceed, Mr. Barton.
Yes, Your Honor. I mean, it sounds like the petitioner is not comfortable questioning Mr. Gray. And I suppose we can put Mr. Gray on briefly, particularly give the court a chance to ask questions if necessary. So yes, we'll call Joshua Gray.
Mr. Gray, do you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Gray, or Mr. Barton, you may proceed with Mr. Gray.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Gray, are you responsible for the Governor Spicy Twitter account?
No, absolutely not.
Have you ever posted using that name as if you were Governor Spicy?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Did you take the picture of the two school board candidates walking into the school? That picture that's described on 8/6, did you take that picture?
No, I did not.
Okay. Do you remember making a comment in September 2021 that is referenced in the petition? Do you remember making that comment? This is the comment that ends with, I'll see you around. We'll see you around.
Yeah, I do remember making that comment.
Did you, when you said we'll see you around, did you mean that you would see the people at their house?
No, not at all.
What did you mean by we'll see you around?
As Ms. Rooks has said previously, we both attend Peoria school board meetings. So that was what I was referring to, is that I'm sure I'll see you at the school board meetings.
Okay. Ms. Rooks testified that none of these involve you communicating directly with her. They all are examples of you talking about her. Do you agree with that assessment? Is it true that you haven't, that in none of these cases you talked directly to her?
That's correct. I have not.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay, just a moment. Yeah. With respect to the August 7th, 2022 incident, there was you were involved in a Facebook group called Peoria Drives Change.
That's correct, sir.
And you mentioned online that you wanted to come to Ms. Rooks' home, and people shared her address with you, or you shared them with them?
No, that's not accurate. I never said that I wanted to go to her home.
Did you share the address?
I did not share the address. No, somebody else had shared it to the group, not me.
Okay, do you, Ms., does that conclude? Well, I'm going to allow Ms. Rooks to ask any questions that she may have of Mr. Gray, if you feel comfortable doing that.
I mean, there's just, from what I've seen in the screenshots from that group, it was a discussion with employees sharing my address because they were talking about somebody should stop by the parent meeting at the house, and that, you know, Josh had said that that he had Devin's address, but not my address. And so then an employee said, well, here's her address. And it was my husband's name and our names and all of that. And somebody had mentioned, well, that's just up stalker mode. And that's what it was all provided in the evidence. And so this why I want it, for fear of my safety. Like, I don't understand sharing someone's address and talking, even having discussion about coming to their house. Makes no sense to me.
Objection, it's not a question.
Okay, I was wanting to know if you had any questions of Mr. Gray. Mr. Gray, does that elicit anything you want to respond to what you just said? You know, and I'm not suggesting that.
No, Your Honor, I want to be clear that I never suggested that I would go to her home. And the reason I had her running mate's address is because it's on her statement of intent to run for school board. So that's the only reason why I had mentioned that I had her address, was because I had seen her statement of intent, which is a public document that had her address on it.
Okay. Does anybody want to make any sort of closing arguments? I think I have a pretty good picture of what your allegations are and what the basis of your claims are. But if any, Heather, you would go first if you want to summarize your situation. Although, I mean, you don't have to repeat anything if you think we've already gone over it, but you can at this time.
No, I think I've pretty much covered how this has been very hard and my family, and I would just like some type of protection here, so that my kids are safe and I feel safe in my home. And so I just don't think it was right. A lot of these things that were being done and shared and discussed, and it's more than anything else that I've ever been through. So and that's why I did this. So I just wanted some extra protection, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gray, do you want to make it? That would be a closing argument.
Your Honor, I'll be very brief. I think this is pretty clear. You know, the LaFaro v. Cahill case is the case that controls here, and you have to be talking to the person. In the LaFaro v. Cahill case, which I'm sure that the court is familiar with, but it's 203 Arizona 482. You know, in that case, there was one example where the person said, "You're a bigot, LaFaro. You're a bigot and a homophobe, a fascist, and a Nazi." And the court said, even if that is harassment, which they said that was spoken, and they said, and we're not going to say it is harassment. So the Supreme Court wasn't even willing to call that harassment. They said, even if it was harassment, it's only one example. And they made very clear that in the other places where Cahill was talking about LaFaro, but not to him, it doesn't count. This petition is deficient on its face. None of the three examples are speaking. None of them are speaking to the petitioner. This isn't even close. And frankly, you know, with all due respect to the subjective feelings of the petitioner, that you have to allege, at a minimum, to show harassment. At a minimum, you have to allege direct communication, and it has not been alleged in any of these three. We don't really even need to talk about what does it mean for two people that are running for office having their picture taken from far away while they're entering the school in the district they're running for. I mean, to call that harassment is a reach. We don't even have to get there because it wasn't handed to her. There was no communication made to her. This doesn't come close to the standard. And so I would ask Your Honor to not grant, or actually to rescind this restraining order, which does not come close to meeting the standards.
Okay. One of the issues, just for the edification of the parties, that I think Mr. Barton has already made clear, but he's correct, that for a petition for a protective order, you only need one incident, because generally in a domestic relationship where there's one incident, there have been past incidents that have not been complained about. And so you just need one incident. But for an injunction against harassment, you need a pattern of harassment. And so you need more than one incident that can be clearly characterized as harassment. In this case, I think that Ms. Rooks has made a colorable claim that the incident of August 7th, 2022, as she understood that incident, might have been an incident of harassment, but even there, it is among third parties, and it doesn't appear to be a real threat. And I think Mr. Gray has explained it adequately. Other than that, there's not a pattern of harassment here yet, and there's certainly no pattern of harassment against Connor, Emmett, Grace, or Luke. And so we simply can't issue injunctions against harassment unless there's a pattern harassment that's been proven to the court, and therefore we are going to rescind the protective order and fine for the defendant. And I'll be getting this into the mail, and thank you all this afternoon.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.